Put a little bourbon in it.
Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission 10 a.m. meeting of June 21st, I think it's summer solstice, 2022. At this time, please silence all your electronic devices and mute your microphones. Please rise for the invocation and the pledge.
O merciful Creator, your hand is open wide to satisfy the needs of every living creature. Make us thankful for your loving providence and grant that we, remembering the account that we must one day give, may be faithful stewards of your good gifts. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Here?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Here.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Here.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Here.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Here. Okay, and now is the time for public comment. Citizens are given an opportunity to comment on any current or future agenda item coming before the board and on other business under the board's purview. Today's public comment will be handled as follows. First, we take public comment from those who are here in person. Then we will take public comment from those who are pre-registered for a WebEx link and are currently on queue. Ooh, not sure why we did that. Someone might be leaning against the light switch. We'll have staff fix that. We request that when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or team member, but rather directed at the issues. This provides mutual respect between board members and the public. After stating your name and address for the clerk, a 3-minute timer will be activated. After 2 minutes, a single beep will indicate you have 1 minute left. When your time is up, 2 beeps will sound, and you should close your comments. WebEx participants will be disconnected automatically when their time is up. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
We do. We have Pastor Troy Peterson, followed by Dixon Phillips, and that's the only 2 that have actually signed up.
Okay, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Staff, thank you for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and share. A couple of quick things coming up. We have 3 backpack giveaways through Somebody Cares. Pasco coming up, one at Port Richey Harley-Davidson, July 9th, the other in Waterfront Park on July 30th, and then we're looking at doing an outreach in Griffin Park the following Saturday.
Nice.
Also, CareFest, thank you for the commissioners that have been involved with that in the past. That'll be coming up where the body of Christ comes together with governing authorities, and we go tackle projects for the elderly and stuff like that. But today, I was praying with a couple other pastors, and I just felt that the Lord was telling me I needed to share some scripture with you this morning. Found in John 17:17. Sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me, being Jesus, into the world, also I have sent them into the world, and for their sakes I sanctify myself, that they also may be sanctified by truth. How many here want truth? We all want truth, don't we? And so our nation was founded on biblical principles. In God we trust, right? And I believe wholeheartedly that if we truly want to see Pasco great, we gotta acknowledge Jesus Christ in the invocation. And so I've come for a year now sharing truth with you, the truth of God's word. The only way to the Father is to the Son. And what I would recommend, and even to the attorney here, if somebody could reach out to me and we could get with my staff, with Somebody Cares pastors, and we can find out how we can lead in the invocation. That way it's put on us. It's our responsibility. It's not yours. And then we can come in and pray for y'all. Because I believe wholeheartedly as we lift up the name of Jesus, okay, and we ask for his wisdom, his guidance, his resources, you know, God is truly going to bless Pasco County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, followed by Dixon Phillips.
Dixon Phillips. And my address is protected. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dixon Phillips. I'm the District 3 representative for Local 4420. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the scariest word in the fire service, cancer. Cancer is something that has affected my family directly. My grandmother survived a very aggressive form of breast cancer, and my mother is currently awaiting her final surgery after a double mastectomy. So please don't mistake my passion for aggression when I speak on this subject. Cancer is the most dangerous threat to firefighter health and safety today. From 2002 to 2019, cancer caused 66% of firefighter line of duty deaths. Firefighters have a 14% higher risk of dying from cancer than the general U.S. population. And Pasco County Fire Rescue is without a doubt an industry leader when it comes to cancer prevention. We've dedicated millions of dollars to the firefighter decontamination program, but this packet I hold in my hand right here tells a different story. In 2019, the state of Florida passed State Statute 112.1816, which is also known as the Cancer Presumption Bill. This bill covers firefighters who have served as a firefighter for more than 5 years if they develop 21 different forms of cancer. This statute entitles a firefighter diagnosed with cancer full reimbursement of any out-of-pocket costs and provides them a one-time cash payout of $25,000 upon the initial diagnosis. But a member of our IFF Local 4420 has been denied his statutory right by the county that this board governs. This member was diagnosed with invasive skin cancer over a year and a half ago, and our union has contended with this county persistently and in good faith to get our member his benefits, but to no avail. This member has served as citizens of this county as a firefighter for more than 20 years. He's revived dead children. He has saved your husbands, your wives, your neighbors. He has made more sacrifices to the citizens of this county than all of you combined. And due to his dedication and service to this county, a street was even named after him in Wesley Chapel. But all the years served and all the people he's helped save don't mean a thing to any of you if you don't do what is right. This member has a qualifying diagnosis as stated in his pathology report. The validity of his claim has never been questioned. This county just doesn't believe the invasive skin cancer is worthy of acknowledgement. This became even more apparent when the county that this board governs filed a challenge against the constitutionality of the Cancer Presumption Bill. Cancer patients are already in the biggest fight of their life, and now they have to fight you too. How dare you? This is not just an attack on every firefighter in Pasco County, it's an attack on every firefighter in the state of Florida. The argument the county is making to avoid following its statutory obligation is that the term invasive skin cancer is unconstitutionally vague. A simple Google search will tell you the term invasive skin cancer has a very specific definition. Another one of our members was diagnosed with glioblastoma brain cancer. He was fortunate to receive his $25,000 benefit, but do you know what he did with that money? He purchased a small piece of land. The dimensions are 10 feet by 10 feet. It's a place where his family will always be able to love him, talk to him, and remember his ultimate sacrifice to this county. The Cancer Presumption Bill was championed by Florida Republican Party leader Senator Ed Hooper, CFO Jimmy Patronis, and Governor Ron DeSantis. Choose the wrong side of this justice issue, and you will lose in the courtroom, you will lose in the eyes of the public, and you will lose at the polls.
You cannot clap in the boardroom. You can clap in public comment? Okay. All right, is there anyone else who wishes to speak to the board here in the room? Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone online who wishes to address the board?
We had one person registered to talk, but he did inform us that he is not going to be present.
Okay, so we will move on to the pulled items. Oh, no, now we have resolutions, so,
Madam Chair,
yeah,
can we address this issue real quick?
sure.
Folks, before you leave, firefighters, hang on for a minute. You know, Commissioner Fitzpatrick brought up the last meeting that we're going to look at this issue, and we scheduled a meeting for it. Since that time, I've got more information, and I'm going to say that I think this board should be directing, instead of hiring our attorney to come back in together, let's settle this thing, let's pay the man, and get on with business.
Second.
Go ahead, County Attorney.
It's up to the board whether or not they wish to direct me to direct outside counsel to settle.
I think
I
we,
think you've got, I mean,
Go ahead.
the problem that with this case is that you're, the law really is unconstitutionally vague in terms of what this really was designed to mean. But if you wish to, I mean, if you wish to settle this case, you can. You know, when a lawsuit comes in, my office is bound to defend you.
Sure.
And in this case, we referred it to outside counsel because it was a personnel labor issue.
So we normally, Commissioner Fitzpatrick, when we have a lawsuit, we go into, what's it called?
A litigation assessment.
A litigation assessment meeting, and I know you haven't been in one yet, but that's normally where we discuss lawsuits. So we have it coming up.
I would urge the board to listen to what your outside
So
counsel
we
has
just,
to
we
say.
just need to follow the process, and,
But you have a motion with a
well, we have a motion and a second, but we do discuss litigation in a litigation assessment meeting, and I'm not sure we want to throw that procedure out.
Madam Chair, before we answer any of this, we should listen to outside counsel before we make
Yeah,
a
I mean,
decision.
I don't have enough information. So,
Madam Chair?
yes.
Would the county attorney please explain what the liability is for the county right now
No,
if we're to settle?
that's not,
This-
you
Commissioner-
can't
but
do that
Commissioner Starkey,
here.
look, if I could, this is an issue that, it was explained to me in a certain way. The more information I've got with it, very clearly say that the intent of the legislative was to take care of these guys, especially one served for 20 years. The list that was on there was very specific. It wasn't a broad-based thing where you can capture it. I think for the will of a fireman, the liability that we face, we're going to pay all the medical bills that he's got. We're going to give him 25 grand in addition. Is there anything more to that, Mr. County Attorney?
he's
We're
already
paying
an
the medical
insured.
bills.
He's insured, he's getting paid.
He's
So what are we
getting
looking
paid.
at, 25 grand?
Uh,
Please?
I'm not willing to discuss
I just
lawsuits
wanna hear
from
this.
here. I
This
think
is-
it's
this is-
very
this is-
bad practice.
This is a different
He was
scenario.
diagnosed with number 7 out of
Again,
21 on the list of
Commissioner Oakley?
I don't think we can discuss this now. I think
so
we have to
either.
do it with that outside attorney before we make decisions like you're asking us to. It's a very important issue, and I care about every firefighter we got and every citizen we have. But we need to do the right thing. We need to listen to outside counsel and be able to discuss those issues with him.
So, I
Not
mean,
here.
I
Not here.
also
It's not the
have
time.
invasive skin cancer. I got it right there on my notes, so I understand. But we really shouldn't start breaking the precedence of discussing this here and not in our litigation assessment meeting.
Madam
So,
Chair.
only for that purpose, I'm going to be voting no on that motion, but we will be discussing it.
Madam Chair, and I don't want to put anyone in the position to,
You are.
but I want to have the discussion on it, though.
Yeah,
Because
but we
to
need to
be-
do that with outside
You-
counsel.
But if I get an
You two-
outside counsel that is delayed because they can't get here, and just to clear the matter, I just want to say what the statute says is we pay the medical bills, which we've done anyway. Is that right, Mr. County Attorney?
That's my understanding.
So
I'm
the-
going to direct the
hang on.
county attorney to not discuss any litigation matters here. Nothing. Because that is not what we do.
It's a different scenario.
It's a very important discussion, but we don't discuss it here for reasons. Commissioner Moore?
Well, okay. Be the mediator for a second here. Why don't we bring this back right after the break? Each one of you take 5 minutes or 10 minutes if you need to, and talk to the county attorney. Make sure you understand everything, what's going on. Let's bring it back to a vote at 1:30.
All right, I'm good with that.
We good with that?
Yes.
That's happy medium. Instead of waiting 2 weeks,
Better,
or
yeah.
3 weeks, or 4 weeks to talk to outside counsel, have a discussion with the county attorney during break. We have an hour and a half. We can all find the time to do it. 1:30, we bring it back, we vote on it then.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
All right.
So I need you to take back your motion.
I'll withdraw the motion for now. We'll bring it back after the break.
That sounds good.
All right, thank you. Where are we on the, no, we're on the resolutions.
Resolutions, yes, ma'am.
So we have RS1.
If anyone is here for the General Federation of Women's Club, in Lutz Land O'Lakes, please step up to the podium. Thank you.
This club has a long history.
Yes, they do.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution. Resolution number 22-156, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending the General Federation of Women's Club, Lutz Land O'Lakes Women's Club, for 62 years of dedicated service to the residents of Pasco County. Whereas the General Federation of Women's Club, GFWC, is one of the world's largest and oldest nonpartisan, non-denominational women's volunteer service organizations. And whereas the GFWC Lutz Land O'Lakes Women's Club and its approximate 100-member volunteers their time to improve homes and communities to make better places to live, work, and play. And whereas the GFWC Lutz Land O'Lakes Women's Club was founded in March 4th, 1960, with Mrs. Dottie Wasden serving as the first club president. The club chose the motto, "Serve today for a better tomorrow," to emphasize their hope that they could build a better future for the community through volunteer work. And whereas the club focuses on 5 areas for community service projects: arts and culture, civic engagement, environment, education and libraries, and health and wellness. The club also has a signature program on domestic violence prevention and awareness. And whereas recently, club members have volunteered their time to serve food at a senior center to raise funds to benefit the residents of Balderrama Lopez State Veterans Nursing Home and to participate in American Cancer Society's Relay for Life event. And whereas
I couldn't hear what you said.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Sorry about that.
That's funny.
And whereas since founded 62 years ago, club members have donated over 1.5 million hours of volunteer service and raised almost $3 million to benefit the Lutz and Land O'Lakes communities. And whereas in 2021, the GFWC Lutz Land O'Lakes Women's Club completed 421 projects, volunteered a total of 29,675 hours, and raised a total of $109,459. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby commends the General Federation of Women's Club, Lutz Land O'Lakes Women's Club, for 62 years of dedicated service to the residents of Pasco County, done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 21st day of June 2022.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome. I know we've been trying to do this for, about a year and a half? Maybe longer, I think. So, but thank you all for your service to the community. I've had the pleasure of participating in the parade on multiple occasions that you guys help obviously put on. But you do so much for the community, and it's, again, like I said, it's so greatly appreciated. The time and effort you put into all these projects, you make Pasco County and the whole Tampa Bay region much better than it was. So thank each and every one of you.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore, and thank you all for acknowledging what we have tried to accomplish over the last 62 years to make our community a better place to live and to work. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great seeing you all.
And if we're going to come down.
Yep.
If you guys are good with it, we'll take a
Everybody's
photo.
We'd love
Yep.
it. Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much. Resolution, a copy here too. There's another copy for you. Thank you. And actually, there's extras as well, so I will, here, I'll put these behind us for a second. We'll take a photograph. Here, you move in the middle, we'll go on the outside. There we go. And we'll,
All the roses in the center.
Everybody look at
Let's look at this camera first.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Andy's gonna do that, stay put for a second.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Yes.
Congratulations, thank you again. Here's your coat. Take care. Great seeing you.
All right. RS2. Where's that other one? It needs more signature. I gave it to Oakley to sign.
All right. If you are here for Pasco County Elementary students receiving their respective grade levels in 11th, 12th, and 13th, please come up regarding Water Awareness Poster Contest. Wonderful. Some good-looking trophies. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution first. Resolution number 22-155, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recognizing and commending Pasco County elementary students receiving first place for their respective grade levels in the 11th, 12th, and 13th Annual Water Awareness Poster Contest. Whereas clean, safe, and sustainable water resources are vital to Pasco County's economy, environment, and citizens. And whereas we strive to protect and preserve our water supply by educating our citizens and taking action to conserve and recycle water. And whereas every year, Pasco County elementary school students are given the opportunity, with the assistance of dedicated Pasco County teachers, to explore STEM, maybe it's STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, based teaching materials that expand their knowledge of water-related topics through artistic expression. And whereas the Water Awareness Poster Contest is an annual opportunity for students to apply their newly gained knowledge and their artistic skills. And whereas the Water Awareness Poster Contest was developed jointly by Pasco County Utilities and the Florida Governmental Utility Authority, FGUA, with the support of the Pasco County School Board as a champion for the education of water conservation. And whereas during the annual Water Awareness Poster Contest, approximately 1,400 posters are submitted. Nearly 19,000 entries have been submitted from Pasco County students since the program's inception. And whereas this year, the winning posters were selected by a judging panel that included representatives from the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners offices, Pasco County Utilities, and FGUA, and community sponsors from each year's program. And whereas the posters chosen displayed exceptional artistic merit, creativity, and clarity of message, representative of students at various levels of learning from kindergarten to 5th grade. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby thanks participating students and teachers for their dedication in promoting water awareness and congratulates first place recipients, Helena, is it Burrowcast? Did I get that? Okay. Mackenzie Coleman, Jonella Morgan, Jackson Sandell, Isabella Maloney, Mackenzie Meisenbach, Joshua Vega, Ava Evans, Williness, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Hernandez Vasquez, Isabella Garcia, Sophia Heller Oquiendo, Avery Haynes, Jaden Chavez, Anderson F., Hazel Crow, Mariska, I think that's it, Mariska, Jarby, Peyton Burton, and an additional student whose name is withheld by request for their outstanding achievement. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 21st day of June, 2022. So sorry for the mispronunciation of names. I'm sure I did that.
Commissioners,
That's fine.
move for approval.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, congratulations.
That's awesome.
We love this tradition, and we'd love for all of you to speak to us about your poster and for FGUA to speak about this contest.
If you've been there,
Yeah, tell us your name. And
Hi, I'm Janella Morgan, and I think that the poster was really hard, but I got through it.
that's sweet.
And we don't have a picture of your poster, right? So what does it look like? Can you describe it?
It was a water poster of like evaporation and water and about the cycle of the rain.
Nice. And what school do you go to?
Cypress Elementary School,
And what grade are you in?
I'm going to 5th now.
Rising fifth grader, the leader of the school. Well, congratulations. How about your two fellow students there?
If somebody would just, if you bend the end of the mic.
Just the end of it.
Just the end of it. Just grab the end. Bend,
There you
there
go.
you go. There you go.
Hi, I'm Hazel Crow, and my poster was a heart earth with stormy clouds, lightning bolts, raindrops, and
Well, it sounds beautiful. I hope someone will send us, have we been sent photos of these and I missed it?
Are they hanging in the?
Where are they hanging?
They're hanging right out here in the government.
Oh, good. Well, I will go look at your posters, and I'll know which one is both of yours. And what school do you go to?
Seven Springs Elementary School,
And what grade are you in?
3rd.
Third grade. Rising third? You're in third grade next year?
No,
You're going to fourth grade. Very good. My kids went to Seven Springs Elementary. And who are you, young man?
I'm Anderson Friedman. My poster was about dirty water and nice and clean water. And it had lightning and storms.
Very nice. And what school do you go to?
Countryside Montessori.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for participating in the contest. We're very happy to have you here this morning, and the parents too. And do you want to speak to the contest at all? Yeah. Anyone? Whoever?
Hi, Commissioners. Matthew Reese, Community Services Manager for FGUA. We want to thank you for your continued support of our program. This has been 13 years as in the program, and it's been amazing to watch students basically for almost 2 cycles of elementary school kids go through this program, participating in this. We wanted to just see the great work that the posters were done. As we did state, the posters are out here in the atrium area, so feel free to look at them. We also have the display board. And the posters are also, the winning posters are on our website at watercontest.org. So feel free to check those out as well.
Wonderful. All right, I have a whole stack of resolutions for you guys. So board members, let's go down and hand these out.
You have a lot of people. Should we stay up and you go down?
Okay, you can just stand up behind me.
You have a lot down there. Squeeze it.
Well, at least they're short.
Yeah, that's sure.
Oh, that's an easy way to do it.
We'll give 3 to the kids, and then we'll give the rest. I don't know how you're gonna get those all. Oh, I gave you 10. So hold it like that for the photos. These are very official. Let me get behind you here.
I have a cough drop over there.
Well, I got a bunch. I got one now too. Thank you. It's just lingering. 3 weeks.
You good? Because
Everybody ready?
I have to say cheese, right?
There's other things going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, right here, please. Perfect, thank you.
Great.
Well, you're going to be useless.
Yeah. Because everybody's going to think you have, she's like, everybody's going to
Thank
think
you.
you have Diet Coke.
I am. And who gets these? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to give them back to Starkey.
Too cute. Everyone sign?
Yes.
All right. So now we are on to the consent agenda. And I have two polls. I have C-28 by Mike Carbala, pull and revise. I have C-54 by Louise Anderson, pull and revise. Board members, anything else you want to pull off the list?
Here.
Okay, I'll take a motion for the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, C-28.
Good morning, Mike Carbala, Assistant County Administrator, Public Infrastructure. On item C-28, the not-to-exceed contract amount was adjusted. That's been highlighted and redistributed for your perusal and approval.
Move approval of the noted changes?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And C-54.
Morning, Christina Cordone, Assistant Director, Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources. On C-54, under the recommended board action, the second paragraph, it's to update the amount of, instead of 219,528 to 279,528.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, we are zipping through. All right, we are on to the regular agenda. We have R58. No, it's 11:30 time certain.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll do R59.
Good morning. David Engel, Economic Growth Director. Put the slides up, please. This is a cooperative economic development agreement for additional development at the I-75 State Road 52 area. The property in question is located on the northeastern corner, and it's bounded by county roadway called Pasco Road. The property is 218 acres. Originally, the property was smaller, but the developer has acquired an additional 56 acres to the north to accommodate a larger building footprint. The developer is bringing forth a build-to-suit distribution center, 1,392,000 square feet. And the developer estimates the building and land development improvements will total $205 million, and the equipment in the building will be approximately $100 million. There is discussion of putting in a 500,000 square foot mezzanine, bringing the build-to-suit building up to approximately 1.9 million square feet in floor area. The developer's data that they've provided us says that the build-to-suit would create approximately 2,400 full-time jobs. This is a footprint of the building as depicted by developers' preliminary plans, just to give you an idea what it's all about. I mean, it's basically 2 football fields and floor area. Oh, I just wanted to go back. I can't do that. Okay. Can we just go back? You pull me back. Just to that, I just wanted to make. So to the south, that's the Udarco, One Pasco Center development, just to give you an orientation. I just wanted to do that. The project will necessitate, to accommodate the larger building and future development to the north, $9.9 million in road improvements. The developers requested $6.3 million in assistance based on probable costs that are an exhibit in the economic incentive agreement. And we're proposing to pay the developer back in ad valorem taxes over 20 years, which will amount to 33% of the tax flow that goes into the general fund. In the event that the project with the build-to-suit does not come to fruition, the developer will default back to the original entitlement of 1,150,000 square feet. It's still a very cost-effective proposition for the county because the incentive comes in at a minimum at $5.50 a square foot versus the other spec buildings that we've done in the past, which range from $9.60 a square foot to $10. The general fund projected revenue over the 20-year period will be $19.1 million. So when you net out the $6.3 million ad valorem assistance, the general fund will capture at least $12.8 million in revenue. And this land is in ag now, so it'll go right on the tax roll once complete. The annual gross county product contribution is $282 million, and again, the job creation. And without any user incentives, which could be coming forth, we don't know, the current return on investment is $1, gives us $195. And I would just add that this is a completely performance-based deal. The developer can't get any money. It goes into escrow until we hit that 1,150,000 square feet. And then to receive any funds, they have to submit invoices and billing that relate primarily to the road improvements, and no money is released until the road infrastructure is completed as described in the exhibits. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Clark Hobby, who's representing the developer today. He may have some additional comments. And Tom Ryan is here from the EDC if you have any questions of him. Thank you.
Commissioners, Clark Hobby, Hobby and Hobby, PA, 109 North Brush Street, Tampa, Florida. Happy to be here today. This is an exciting project. I can't talk about the end user here, but the project's being designed and will be constructed for a major regional distribution center that will include a significant number of jobs. And just so the board is aware, if for some reason the end user went away on this project, no money will be advanced unless my client, the developer, goes out and builds this enormous building anyway. So it's a huge net benefit to the county, even if the end user didn't come. But I'm happy to say that my client is so confident in the deal happening that we're planning on starting construction in late August to early September. There's been a lot of work that's going on in the background, and most of which I can't speak about. And I just want to say my client's flight got delayed this morning. They'll be here for the afternoon, and they were very sorry to say they couldn't make the meeting this morning, but they really appreciate the county being a partner. And just the last thing to remind you, my client in this deal is North Point Development out of Kansas City. They are the largest privately held light industrial developer in North America. And so for us, getting someone in there who's willing to do a project like this hopefully is going to lead to a lot more projects with North Point, and we're really excited about having them here. So appreciate your assistance.
Thank you. I do have a question, but did anyone else?
I don't have a question, but I'm glad to see this project coming forward. We've been talking about it for, seemed like a long time, but District 1 and East Pasco is starting to grow more and more with Pasco Town Center and then this project too. So a lot of great things happening, a lot of jobs being created for our citizens over in East Pasco.
I just can't tell you, and Commissioner Oakley knows this as well as I do, coming up from what was really a factory town in Dade City to see the opportunity for this kind of job creation. I mean, this building is almost a half-mile wide. Mm-hmm. My client's going to build the building half-mile wide. So this is a big deal.
Commissioner Mariano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Clark, one of the things we talked about is it's a lot of executive officers going to be there as well.
Right.
That'll be supporting. So it's not just the distribution, it's the high-level stuff too. I want to thank you for what you're doing. The project you brought us down at Overpass Park, you brought the user in for that one too. And I hope to get with you maybe on the Hicks Road project that Dave and I are working on as well to work on that industrial park. Maybe some opportunity for him. It's a little smaller scale, but who knows?
I appreciate it. I know David Goldstein was kind of poking fun of me. He and I were emailing one day, but again, coming from Dade City and it had such a huge employment base, it really made a wonderful town, a lot of middle income earning opportunities. And so for me, the jobs are really key to creating a community. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. So I'm just super excited to be here today.
Appreciate that.
Do you mind putting the map back up? You know my question. Because this is a little different than the maps that Clark and I have been talking about. Because if you look to the left, you'll see the underpass for the Orange Belt Trail. But that corridor is not reflected on this map, so.
This is just an artist's rendering. It has nothing to do with the land development matter, which will be on the board's agenda this afternoon.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I was just going through my stuff just to be sure, but I will call that out whenever I can. But board members, that's the underpass we got DOT to put back in when they redid the 7552 intersection. They had taken that out. Okay.
Thank you. Well,
very exciting.
The Office of Economic Growth recommends approval of this item. Thank you.
And let me say that AmSkills is gearing up for robotics training. We have sent someone to get lots of certifications in teaching robotics training, so we are ready to help.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's in your.
It's in my district.
Yeah. Do we need, is it a motion, or is there no action?
Is
Nope,
there-
we need to
Is there
recommend.
action on this or not?
Yes, you got to make a motion to approve
Okay, I
them.
move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Great, very exciting, and we'll see you this afternoon. Okay, next we have R 60.
All right, good morning. Justin Grant, Director, Public Infrastructure, Fiscal, and Business Administration. There is a revision for this item, UT 220396. Attachment 6 has been replaced and distributed to the clerk and board members prior to the meeting. UT 220396 is closing documents for acquisition of the Lindrick utility system, assignment and assumption of easements, assignment and assumption of service agreements, assignment and assumption of permits and governmental approvals, assignment and assumption of construction contracts between Pasco County and the Florida Government Utility Authority, general closing certificate of Pasco County, Florida, directions to the trustee relating to fund transfers, and escrow closing agreement by and among Pasco County, Florida, and the Florida Government Utility Authority, and neighbors Giblin and Nickerson, PA, 24 million. All right, Pasco's interlocal agreement with the FGUA dated March of 2008 allows the county to purchase FGUA systems from the FGUA within the county boundaries. Back in February of 2019, Resolution 19-101, the board announced its intent to acquire the Pasco Aqua and Lindrick systems from the Florida Government Utility Authority, known as the FGUA. Then, in July of 2020, Pasco County successfully acquired the first of those two systems, the Pasco Aqua system. Then, in January of 2022, we conducted a public interest hearing, transition agreement, and acquisition resolution, number 22063, to authorize the use of $24 million of American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, grant funds for the acquisition of the Lindrick utility system. The Lindrick utility system is currently owned by FGUA when they took over in 2010. It's located in the southwest corner of the county, near the city of Port Richey. It serves approximately 3,200 water customers and 2,700 wastewater customers, and covers a service area square mileage of around 3¼ square miles. It has 6 permitted wells, 17 lift stations, and over 550 manholes. This transaction is expected to close on June 30th to 2022, with the official ownership transferring to the county on July 1st. This will include all the utility assets, liabilities, properties, and easements. The Lindrick customers will be fully transitioned to county rates effective July 1st, and it's notable that there'll be an average of nearly 42% reduction in the average monthly bill for those customers. Also notable, back in October of 2021, Pasco County received $3.8 million from FDEP for the Lindrick area sewer system and water quality upgrades. The FGUA and Pasco County have been working diligently on this grant, and approximately 55% of the work has been completed. Upon transition, Pasco County will complete the remaining work associated with the grant. Summary of recommendations associated with this item is to approve the closing documents, including assignments and assumptions, general closing certificate, the directions to the trustee, and the escrow closing agreement. Furthermore, authorize $24 million for payment for acquisition of the Lindrick utility system pursuant to the terms and conditions outlined in the agreement, March 20, 2008. Pasco County will use any remainder towards the first-year planned capital improvements and renewal and replacement projects. Final steps, as stated in the memo before you, is to approve staff's recommendations, authorize the chairman, officers, and attorneys of the county to execute any revisions that may be required by the transition agreement or otherwise facilitate the closing, and request the clerk to approve and execute the clerk's certificate regarding the resolution and transition agreement.
Okay. Board members, yes.
Madam Chairman, I want to say, Justin, you've done a phenomenal job. Mike, with the team, to make this happen has been a major, major achievement. It's the second FGUA property we've got, and from utility water problems we had from many, many years ago between bad water quality, bad service, the FGUA was the chosen role that the board had picked to step into, but getting these systems into the county system is so much better. I mean, that 41% reduction in rates is phenomenal. The better of consolidation with the helping with density of these projects getting closer and closer is good for us. To see you guys pull off this one as well, and Commissioner Starkey, your diligent work up in Tallahassee helped take a lot of the funding pressure off the whole system, so I want to congratulate the board, congratulate you guys for bringing this thing forward.
Thank you. They've been working in the neighborhood, sleeving all the leaking pipes since, I don't know, maybe for 6 months now, I think.
We started earlier this spring.
But see the trucks every day. When will So right now, we're on those wells. The lender system is out there still, is on the wells. When do you anticipate it being able to be the county water?
So there is a 5-year capital plan built into this acquisition, and switching those wells off and pushing us to regional supply is part of that. I can have the team give a more detailed briefing on what the capital implementation plan is. Right now, we want to make sure that the highest liability items, i.e. the sewage and those issues, are taken care of first, but it is part of the plan.
So do we have any threat of saltwater intrusion since we're on the coastline over there with wells?
I'm not familiar with exactly what the water quality issues are with the wells, but needless to say, we need to get off coastal wells and switch to regional supply.
Okay, all right, thank you. 42%, that's just huge.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have an 11:30 time certain, so we can go to board member comments.
R61.
Oh, we have another one? Sorry. Did I miss that? Oh, sorry, R61. Okay, interim county administrator. So we started having this discussion at the last meeting, and Commissioner Moore was not here, so I felt it was appropriate that we have this discussion when all the board members are here.
So they tied me down and said.
So, we have
Well,
choices here, and, go ahead, Commissioner Oakley.
last time I'd made a motion for an interim administrator, and I've, by waiting, I've thought more about it. If I was doing this in my business and it was a vice president, something that left my business, and I had someone interim to be put in that position, I wouldn't put him in there as an interim, I'd put him in the position and go forward, and it'd be a smooth transition. And so I'd like to, and we can discuss this, I won't make a motion yet, but I would like to make that to where it's not an interim, it's a position for
Wow.
administrator.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Mariano.
So, and I've had much time to think about it, and I've kind of evolved, because my first thoughts were, we're going to do national search, get the best candidate we can for the county. And, I know we had two really strong guys who were thinking about it, and one a little bit stronger than the other as far as wanting to do it. Either one could do it, but I will say that after my meetings, even just the budget meeting I had yesterday, just really solidified it. Sitting down and I was sitting down with Mike, Eric, and Bob, and just going through what was coming up, I'm going, we've built a really strong team. It's great when you can build a great group and you can promote from right within. And I will tell you, I don't think there's been a better person suited to take over the county administrative job than Mike Carbell than anyone I've ever seen. He's really diligent. The FGA thing we just put through, we gave him that heavy rock to carry, and he carried that thing across the finish line again. His team, as far as with stormwater, you look at the satisfaction of the west side to the east side and central, the west side's been struggling, but if you look at the things that he's done with his team with stormwater is ranked like 95%, 96%. That's phenomenal. But that took leadership and dedication to listening to us to get these things done. So I'm gonna back your motion up, Commissioner Oakley, when you make it, as far as to back Mike up, because I think he's ready for the job, and I think the county would be so much better served with the jail we got coming up, we've got to take over, all the things going on, that I think you're right. It's a great move to make that
I
next
think
step
it'd be
right
a
off the
very
bat.
smooth
I think I'd be
transition, and this
seamless.
county will keep
I think it'd
moving
be
forward,
seamless.
so.
Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whoa. I'm in microphone problems today, yeah. No, I don't disagree. When we're talking about, if we're going interim first, obviously Mike Carball, I think, would be a great fit for the team, and we've had the, opportunity to have many conversations on this during scheduled meetings. Obviously very competent, and obviously understands the county, lives in the county, knows the county very well, and I have all the confidence in the world in him. I want to see this county obviously continue to move forward and do well and succeed. You know, I'm only going to be here for another, what, 4 or 5 months? I can't, something like that.
You could change your mind.
We'll be it's a little late now. I think I missed that opportunity last week. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But, no, I think he'd be, excel at this position. And like I said, I don't disagree one bit. Again, you know, obviously, as an entire board, especially some of you that are obviously going to be here longer than myself, have to, you know, obviously I want to take your comments into consideration before we vote. But I don't disagree that he definitely should be interim, and I do have confidence that he could be permanent as well. I think it's just how you decide how you want to structure something like that.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
I think he would be a great asset to the county, and whether it was an interim for the first few months and then move forward. And again, I think he was a great asset and a good choice.
Thank you. So I also think Mike is very, very capable, and I've talked with people who work with him in other agencies, and they find him very capable as well. I have mixed emotions because I think sometimes it's good to hear what other people's ideas are in other places. I've had the opportunity to live around the world, and I learned something in every place I've ever lived. And so I guess I can go either way. I know sometimes when you do a national search, you don't know what you're going to get. And I know we've interviewed some people that probably weren't right for our county, but we did find someone like Dan Biles.
Yep.
So I think Mike can do a great job, but I also think it's good to hear what others have to offer and bright ideas from other really prime areas that I think we could attract from. So go ahead, Commissioner Oakley.
Okay. And when we first started looking and we started discussing, Eric was also in that mix. And I think before the last meeting, I heard Eric decided that maybe he wasn't quite ready, but both of them are very qualified people, and I appreciate both of them very much. And just want that to be heard, because before I spoke last time, didn't say much about Eric, but had reached out about Mike, but I'd heard before the meeting that Eric had decided he wasn't quite ready. So I appreciate that. I think that helps all of us know that, and I think he's a great member of the staff, and with taking on detention and other things that matter, he's got a very big job to do. So, and he knows that. So, but with that, I would like to make a motion to appoint Mike Kabala as our new administrator for Pasco County.
Second.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
you've already got an administrator on contract through October 1st.
Oh,
While a contract could be structured in such a way that Mike can take over, unless you're trying to terminate Mr. Piles, which I don't think you are.
I didn't try to do that. I thought he did that himself, but. But
He's on,
I'll
you
leave
know,
that
right
up
there.
to him. He's probably listening to this. So.
I think.
But if I will structure my motion to mean that he would be an administrator taking over after Mr. Biles' contract.
Mike would be
ends.
interim until Mr. Biles' contract elapses, and we can begin contract negotiations with
Mike at that time.
Mike, you
process.
can begin contract negotiations with Mike right away.
Right, okay,
To take over on October 1st.
right.
There you go.
Okay, that's my motion.
So, Madam Chair, so if I have it correctly, then, your motion is to currently appoint Mike Kabala starting on July, when's Mr. Biles leaving? Appoint,
29th, I think.
September, well,
no.
he
Well, okay, we're going to need somebody
has
in this.
vacation
We're going to need
time.
somebody in that role starting July
31st.
31st? Okay. July
But
29th.
he's still the administrator until when? How does that work? Because he's taking,
September 30th.
so
yeah,
do we say
September
September 30th?
No,
It's okay to
I
say-
think it's
I think it's
correct.
July.
Mike would be interim
He's going to be off
at
site.
the time,
Yeah.
that
Leaves-
Dan
leaves the building.
leaves the building.
Right.
August 1st
And then,
to
but then would become the county administrator on October 1st, which was the day after Mr. Biles.
Yep, because no matter what.
Contract ends.
Yeah, because Mr. Biles would have to appoint an acting county administrator while he was
Right.
gone anyway. So if he took a 2-month leave, he's going to have to appoint somebody as acting, as he's done today, for example. Right, okay, cool. You got a second
Is
there.
that okay with the second? Good with the seconder? Okay.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All righty.
Should that be roll call or not?
Has that ever happened before?
Well, Madam Chair, I think, and I appreciate the motion and Commissioner Oakley bringing this up. And I appreciate Commissioner Oakley waiting till I came today to this meeting.
Oh, I did.
Thank you.
They
Thank you.
hog-tied me, so
Thank
I
you
had to stay
thank you
back
so
and
very much.
wait.
But if you look at a lot of, and I've said this on many occasions, not everybody agrees with me, and that's okay. But I look at Pasco County, it's a very large corporation. It's a large company. We're the board of directors, and all our constituents are our shareholders. And the shareholders decide who the board of directors are, and the board of directors decide who leads and who our CEO is, right? If you look at companies, obviously, throughout time, people groom their replacements. The board doesn't always go out to a national search. We see it constantly. You saw it not too long ago, if I'm not correct, in Hillsborough County, where the, quote, CFO was actually bumped up to be the county administrator there as well. So it is not as uncommon as we may think.
But I think they did
especially
search.
Especially in the corporate world. They did, but they knew who they wanted the whole time, let's be honest. Why put through, that's what I think, why put people through that? Why put outside people through a process when we know who we want? It's saving the time, it's not fair to them either, so, good decision.
And, Madam Chair?
Yep.
And I would like to also state that it's very very easy to speak with him. He has great communication skills, he's respectful, he has ethical values and integrity. So I would like to say thank you.
Madam Chair?
It'll be continued
And
after
just to
he.
say, when first thought, Eric was a contender, Mike was a contender, and Eric, I support you 100%, knowing you want to spend more time with your family while you're not that you're not ready for it, just like you don't want to miss that family time that you may take with the administrative position. But literally watching you and Mike together with Bob Goering yesterday going through, it's like, we got a great team, we got a great leadership here, we can keep this thing rolling, great as we're going right now without skipping a beat. So you're being there and knowing that you still want to stay here and put a long career in, work with Mike together side by side, we're thrilled. So thank you.
All right, so, board members, I'd like you to authorize me to work with staff to negotiate
So moved.
an employment contract.
Okay.
All right, does that take a motion?
We got a motion?
Before motion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, that was smooth. Congratulations again. All right, we are on to board member items. Commissioner Oakley.
Wasn't expecting that, was he?
Well, I had something, now I don't remember what it was. Commissioner Oakley, do you have any board
we're ready.
member?
Oh, what's that?
I know we're early.
Well, I don't have well, I do have one thing very particular to bring up. Our last board meeting, which I didn't hear of until after the board meeting that night, that we had lost Sylvia Young, a past commissioner for District 1. Spent 20 years, 1980 to 2000, as a county commissioner, and she actually loved the citizens of Pasco County. She loved Dade City. She loved Pasco County. She loved Darby. She loves her love of her family. So we went through a process trying to get the flags lowered, and we can't just do that on our own. It has to go through the governor's office. And prior to that happening last Thursday at her memorial, we lowered those flags at half-mast. And Commissioner Starkey got a letter from the governor, and also a letter went out also to the mayor of Dade City that the flags could be lowered for that particular day and that memorial. So we're very appreciative of all that went into getting that done, and we owe a lot to her previous to all of us, the work she did for Pasco County, and you got to be really thankful for her and her family. So that's it. That's all I have today.
Thank you. Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So since I was not here last meeting, I have a little more than normal. First thing I would like to say is thank you for passing C3 this morning. That's the resolution I sponsored for recognized former Speaker Will Weatherford. Obviously, we know he did an incredible job for Pasco County. I wanted to make sure he was recognized by this board. Anything from the IPAC to Pasco Hernandez State College to the extension of 56 all the way to 301. He did so much for this community in the state of Florida. We wanted to recognize him. Unfortunately, as we know, former Speaker Weatherford, in his new role, he travels quite often. So it's hard to be able him to lock himself down, which is understandable, right? He does travel on a regular basis. So thank you for that. I will make sure he gets that on the commission's behalf. I think we have a couple photos here. I had the opportunity on May 24th to be the keynote speaker of the Pepin Academy's graduation ceremony. 38 graduates with parents and family and faculty and staff that were in attendance. And it was definitely a wonderful, very emotional evening at the same time. And as many of you have, I've had the opportunity on numerous occasions, from colleges to high schools, to be able to speak at graduation ceremonies or give the keynote address. And I will say this is definitely the most emotional one I ever spoke at by far. So, congratulations to everybody and all those graduates and to their families, because it's their families as well that work very hard to help their students get through graduation. We talked about fire a little bit this morning, but I'm sure everybody saw, hopefully, that you saw that there was actually a really nice feature in the Fire Apparatus magazine on Pasco County's Fire Rescue Mobile Decon Unit and Mobile Rehab Unit. So it was a great article. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We had the ability to have up to 6 firefighters on EKGs at once. So it was really cutting-edge things that this county's investing in. So again, congratulations to Chief Casson and his team for being highlighted. Next thing I wanted to talk about is, excuse me, we have a towing resolution for the tow companies, as you're aware. We know with the price of gas and inflation is ridiculous, and unfortunately, it's only going to continue to increase. So my understanding is, and I had the conversation with Mr. Steinschneider, our county attorney, as well. There's nothing under the current resolution that allows us to charge for additional fuel for those fuel companies. It's really hurting those companies, as I think you heard me talk in the past. Even my lawn guy is having to increase his rates just to cover the fuel. Unfortunate, but it's a fact of the matter until our federal government steps up and actually does something about it. So what I'd like to do is make a motion to ask the county attorney's office, which like I mentioned, I had a discussion earlier with him about, to bring back a resolution at the next meeting to a proposal to increase the surcharge based on the cost of fuel for the U.S. On the highway diesel price. It's posted weekly by the United States Energy Information Administration. So it would scale with the price of fuel. So that way they're not losing money, and we don't have citizens that are sitting on the side of the road not be able to get picked up because nobody wants to pick them up because nobody wants to do business in the area. So surcharge, it would only be in certain circumstances and would not apply when that extra fuel is not needed. So I don't know if we want discussion, or I can just continue with the motion, or Mr. Steiner wants to jump in at all. I think I have this correct.
Well, the ordinance and this resolution only apply to non-consensual towing.
Right.
So it wouldn't, it's still free market as far as people getting tows if they're stranded on the side of the road. But yeah, it affects the sheriff's rotation. Basically, it's accident cases that sort of thing, where the vehicles are
Right. And
immobilized.
typically, the insurance companies do, as we know, if you have insurance or AAA or something like that, does pick up the cost of that tow, at least up to a certain amount. But it would scale with the price of fuel. And if diesel drops below $3, whatever the surcharge would actually go away entirely. So if it drops back down to the prices it was, a year ago, the surcharge would go away. So anybody have a problem with us bringing that back next meeting?
No.
Okay.
And that would affect the mileage rate, correct?
Correct. Yes, that is correct. Mhm.
The rest of the rates would stay the same, but there'd be a fuel adjustment on the mileage
Correct.
charge that we've got.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I will send you additional information I have as well. All right, so there's my
Thank you.
motion. If I give a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last thing I have, and this is really just a discussion. I did talk briefly with Mr. Steinsteiner on this, so he's still, him and his office are still doing some research on this, but I just want to get a feel from my fellow commissioners. We're talking about fuel prices. If you go to the pump anytime, you realize, I think I paid $5.17 for regular yesterday. It was $5.17, and I never put regular in my truck.
Yeah, really?
I do now. I do now.
Paying premium charges.
Yeah. So as we know, the state during last session, they actually did a gas tax holiday. They're looking at October, and let me explain why they did October, because I think there's misconceptions of why they did October. Obviously, tourism's big during the summer months, and a lot of our winter visitors start coming, late October, early November. So the thought was, the legislator's mind and the governor's mind was, okay, October is a perfect time because it's going to benefit the citizens of our state of Florida more so than anybody else. So I wanted to get a feeling for my fellow board members, if you would be interested in entertaining a sales tax holiday in Pasco County in the month of September. And I use September because, again, state's already doing October. If we did September, it'd be some extra relief and a little sooner than October, but it's still the same situation, whereas, kids are back in school, people aren't traveling as much, our winter visitors aren't here, so it's going to mostly benefit the citizens of Pasco County. We do know if we do this, that some people will come over the border from Hillsborough or from Pinellas to, save a few bucks. But I wanted to get a feel again, if there's any interest, what your thoughts are. Now, there's one caveat that we don't know the answer to yet, so we can't make a decision today on this. We'd have to come back, is that Mr. Steinsteiner has to look and see if our gas tax is tied to any bonds, because if it is tied to any bonds, that we wouldn't be able to do it.
So we're pretty sure that the second 5 cents has been bonded. I have not been able to verify what the first 5 cents is, and you're going to need an ordinance amendment to do this as well.
Okay, so it's 12 currently as a total, 5 and 5, and then the 1 and 1 is, I forgot what the one, there's one that's part of the 12 and another one that's part of the 12. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So obviously we couldn't do it for the second, because that's bonded. We'd have to research and see the 5.
So does that impact any work that we were doing?
It would definitely do impact in the future. It would just like the states, it will have an impact on, on the future. So that's what you have to weigh, okay? Do we think we want to give relief now to some of our citizens as much as we can? Obviously, it's not going to, do much for somebody if they don't commute back and forth to work much, if they're only going a couple miles. But for the people that, use 5-10 gallons a day, and it could save them $30, $40 a week or something like that, then it'll have a bigger impact. Especially people that, again, like I mentioned, travel for work. If you're somebody that travels from Wesley Chapel to Port Richey for county commission meetings, I'm just teasing, but that's a long way, right? So if you did that on a consistent basis, I'm using that as an example, that's high mileage on a vehicle, so those people would benefit. Again, thought is any type of relief we might be able to give the citizens. Unfortunately, our federal government doesn't seem to be working very hard to give us any relief.
So there is a program at T-Barter called the Commuter Van Pool. The numbers are, who served on T-Barter here? You did for a little while?
Oh, I was on T-Barter.
Yeah.
I pointed you to it when I became chair
Yeah.
because I wanted off it.
So my brother-in-law used to be on the Bay Area Commuter Services Board before it came in under T-BARTA. It's an incredible program. It's called the Van Pool, Commuter Van Pool, and it's the users are put together in a group that are kind of geographically aligned. They can get a car at a very, very low rate. I think it's through Enterprise Florida, and they share the van experience, the shared driving. They can take the car home. Actually, it doesn't have to be. It's not a van, a car. They take the car home. It really, really cuts down on their expenses, and I definitely want to have someone come brief the board on that, and we can really, really promote that. And for sure, if there's enough people coming from Wesley Chapel over here, we can take advantage of that and get some van pools going. But I want to make sure everyone in the county knows that that's available. It's a great program.
Well, I'm going to continue on, just, and as we know, there's still a lot of people that, commute from Pasco County to Hillsborough County and Pinellas County for work every day. It's a hardship now. I mean, we know it. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. I mean, it's hard on people. I mean, we have people in this room right here that travel from each side of the county, or some people travel from, Hernando County or Pinellas County to come even work here in Pasco County because we're so
where
great.
you work,
but,
and
but yeah, so
I believe in that.
It's a
Live where you work.
It's a burden right now for a lot of citizens.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, Commissioner Mariano, sorry.
I heard the federal government trying to look at doing that as well, and I'd say my first response is like, why don't you just approve the Keystone Pipeline? Why don't you let them do more drilling? Why don't we let more exploration happen? Why don't we encourage more refineries to be built? To really, to go hurt, we can't get our projects we want to get done anyway. Like, we can't get County Line Road funded right now between not enough money coming in. So for them to go short themselves on projects that need to get done as infrastructure folks is nonsensical. You want to fix the problem, fix the supply.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. So all this other stuff about we're going to save you money doing this, go to Saudi Arabia and try to go talk to them about, go produce more.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. As far as I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I will tell you, I don't want to deal with next summer people driving down Little Road, if that road breaks away again like it did on the northern part, to have that road break away again. The other road project we're trying to get done, I'm trying to get a vision road done on a side road to an industrial park that'll bring jobs to the county. A bridge that was built too low that I got 250 homes, you can't get boats out to the Gulf of Mexico. That doesn't make any sense. So I would not want to, and knowing that we have a shortage of funding to get all the road projects we want to get done, I couldn't get behind that just because it would set us back.
No, and I, Madam Chair, and I can appreciate that. Again, it was just a discussion I wanted to have, again, to see if we could provide any relief. And again, you have to weigh your options. What's the greater need and what's going to give the biggest impact. And like you did mention, yes, there's things that unfortunately that we as a county and county commission and team members, we can't control them. Like, obviously we have no control on, again, like you mentioned, where we're trying to pull oil from, where we're trying to pull natural gas from, where we're trying to pull all these natural resources from. Unfortunately, certain people decide they don't want to. But we're all impacted. So, but I appreciate it. Again, that's why I just wanted to really have a discussion versus just making a motion to see if there was an appetite for it, if we were to talk through it a little bit.
Appreciate it.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
is there a way, and I am curious how they're going to work the gas holiday in October, is there a way to guarantee or to make sure that the gas stations don't leave their rates at their current price and us and the citizens are guaranteed to get the tax break? Because I know we do have the 12-cent tax, and I do one of my commissioner courses. It has a map that directly reflects, just because you charge more at a higher gas tax, it doesn't mean you're going to have a higher price in fuel. So there was no correlation between the tax and the price. But I just want to make sure if we do a holiday that we can guarantee that our citizens benefit and not the gas stations.
Madam Chair, so you would look at it like the sales tax holiday on clothes and things. Obviously, it is up to the retailers, right, to follow that. If they don't, they, somebody would have to reach out to, I don't know, the AG or to the Department of Professional Regulation or something like that to, quote, turn them in. They're all supposed to follow it, right? But you would have to, yes, would you have to police it? Possibly.
It's a little more difficult only because the retailers have a set price and price tags on their clothing and materials and items, and we don't have a set. They fluctuate their prices compared to the competitive market.
Yeah, it would be virtually impossible to take an action against the gas stations. As you were, when you all were considering the second option, 5-cent increase, actually OMB had done some research at that time that it really didn't matter that because of the elasticity of fuel, it really doesn't matter what you're charging in tax. They all the surrounding communities seem to settle at the same price, whether you have the 5 cents on or whether you don't. And so it would be very difficult to prove that a gas station was not rebating the gas tax if you did a solid.
Well, that's good. That's why we're talking through this.
Unless there's a price ceiling.
No, right. Again, I'll go back to one more time and I'm done.
But I do love the idea.
No, but thank you. And I appreciate it. Again, listen, give us some thought. Again, I didn't want to make any motion. When we come back, give us some thought, talk to team members, look at what other people are doing. Just trying to see if there's anything we can do to help the citizens in the situation we're in. Because again, it doesn't seem like people at the very top are doing very much to help.
Well, I certainly would want to have an impact statement, what roads it might affect. Here,
Sure, exactly.
I'm keeping some papers.
All right, thank you. I'm done.
Okay. Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. Do we have the photos?
I don't think they're in agreement. In order. Okay.
While we're waiting on that, how did everyone like the Bolts game last night? Go
Yes.
Bolts!
Yes.
My son was there.
6-2. I'll be following. All right. I would like to say congratulations to Keith Wiley and his team at Parks and Rec. They had a successful grand open and ribbon cutting at Starkey Ranch District Park Softball Complex. I am very excited to be a part of this, and as we are setting that premier standard for Parks and Rec, I'm excited to make sure all of our Parks and Rec have that premier standard. While we're looking at those photos, I had handed out a packet. It does have a master agreement between Pasco County School District and Pasco County BOCC. I feel it's very important that kids have access to playgrounds, and there's already an agreement for Anclo Elementary School, Longleaf Elementary School, I want to say Schrader Elementary School, and BPMS at Bayonet Point Middle School, where they can utilize the playground after school and on weekends. I am working with the school district as well to move forward to expand the locations that they have playgrounds after school, on weekends, and over the summer. I gave everyone a list because I would really like you to look through the list, or if you know of a school in your district that you would like to be added and included on this list, that you let Kathy Pearson or Keith Wiley be aware so we can add more schools. I would much rather see more kids out playing on playgrounds, walking to their schools, than sitting home on electronics all day. I know some of the schools I've already spoken to, and I'm really excited about, are Fox Hollow. I would like to see Cypress, Calusa, Wendell Cren, and I really think it would be important to include some of the middle schools or high schools, especially since they have a track. For example, Wendell Cren. They have a track and field. They have tennis courts. I know when I was out of state visiting family, there was over 100 people on the track and field utilizing that. You have your seniors, now they have a place to go and walk. You have kids where they can go play. So I think it's really important. Again, if you could look at the list, if there's any, this list is only the elementary schools.
Yeah.
But again, if you have any suggestions or like a specific school to be added, please let us know so we can include it. And then once they have a list, I know Ray Gadd is going to look at that list. He's going to bring it back to their board. We'll have a vote for our board on the schools. I did mention at one point, if there's a possibility to have a way where it doesn't have, each school doesn't have to be brought back to the board every time, can we delegate authority for them to add schools to that list?
The master agreement requires that that site-specific agreements be adopted.
Okay.
So, once you have a template agreement, you could probably delegate to the administrator the ability to sign those. But again, it's going to, each one of these, there's going to be a cost involved to the county.
Thank you. Oh, and speaking of costs, my friend that serves on the school board in Ocala went to DC. There is a Safe Schools program and grants, so we can possibly get the funds for the additional fencing that we would have to separate the playgrounds from the schools, so maybe they could help with the funding on that issue.
Good.
So,
Hey, I support you on this. Keep working it.
thank you. So hopefully.
I would add the high schools, because they have tennis courts, they have tracks that people could
Absolutely.
go run and exercise on the weekends, and I remember getting chased off Mitchell High's track. So, yeah.
Especially if they're inside of a community or a backdoor school. So I think that's really important. Next, I would like to just mention a reminder, we have the commissioner baby shower, we have the commissioner baby shower, which is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So if anyone has any items, any new or unopened items, diapers, diaper cream, baby lotion, formula bottles, pacifiers, wipes, clothing, any baby items, they can drop it off here, or they can bring it tomorrow to Starkey Ranch at 2 o'clock.
Starkey Ranch?
Starkey Market, sorry, at 2 o'clock. Oh, and yes, thank you. So all the donations,
Where's this going? Who's this for?
all of the donation, last year it went to Suncoast Voices, and this year it's going to Sunrise Domestic Violence Shelter for Pasco County.
We've collected things other than what's on that list. We got a whole bunch of shower liners and all kinds of household items that they also need. So I think that's part of the list, but, right, we can take a lot more.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
the last is I was honored to speak at Athenia Academy's 8th grade graduation, and I would like to say congratulations to all of our graduates in Pasco County. Thank you. And that's it.
Commissioner Mariano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had my appointee from the Planning Commission had resigned.
Yeah, I was,
So
yeah.
I was very surprised. But I talked to a person who was served before under Commissioner Cox years ago, did a great job. He's a local engineer. His name is Jonathan Moody. He's done the application for the Advisory Committee Commission, and I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jonathan Moody to my Planning Commission seat.
Oh, the engineer in
Engineer.
Newport, yeah, excellent, yeah.
I'm sorry, who's he taking over for?
Roberto Sayas.
Roberto,
Oh, he's leaving?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, second.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. I've heard he's excellent.
He is.
I've never met him, but I've heard he's
And
excellent.
I'll tell you, we've been working with him a little bit with Barbara Wilhite and Company on items coming up, 62, 63. They're being continued till August, but I recommend the board really study these, ask staff questions quite a bit to what it's going to want. The effects of what we're looking at doing could be monumental, and I don't want to see us take a wrong step or go too far with a step that may really impact, especially the west side. I do have one other item, Madam, but I want to wait till the afternoon if I could. I want to give you an email I got from Terry Pitos that'll kind of clarify exactly what I got. I can't seem to pull it up. So if we do it in the afternoon, it'll be fine. It's okay. That's all I have.
Okay, well, the county administrator.
Actually, I do have a few items here that Dan had, and the first thing that we wanted to recognize was the team went to the Florida City and County Managers Association gathering in Orlando at the beginning of June. We had a fantastic showing amongst the team, which is good. Good to see a lot of interest in folks wanting to pursue those routes and improve their leadership abilities. I know Kathy moderated some great sessions. Dan and Joanna spoke about our cultural change. So it was a fantastic opportunity for Pasco to get out there and showcase itself and be with your peers in your industry. Also in that same week, Pasco County was recognized by the Sterling Council for completing what's called a Sterling Explorer Management Assessment. So this is kind of a more in-depth look under the hood at your organization and the things that you're doing to move yourself towards the path of hopefully becoming a Sterling certified organization. But at the end of the day, it's really about the management and the process and making data-driven decisions and focusing on your customers. So fantastic of that. I'd also just like to add, sorry, I was a little unexpected with your move today, and I'm appreciative of that. It was also unexpected for me to land here in Pasco County and work for such a great administrator like Dan Biles, as well as the people that we work with here, this board, and our various stakeholders. So I do appreciate your confidence, and I look forward to, again, working alongside the women and men, as well as our key stakeholders in Pasco County as your county administrator. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Who's next? County Attorney?
I may have something later, but I don't right now.
Okay, and I'm sitting here looking for a photo. Clerk?
Yes. Two updates. One, last week we had our Florida Clerks of Court conference, and my office was recognized in excellence in 12 best practices by our association, so very proud of that. And an update in regards to the contract with the outside auditing firm. Last week, or last meeting, Harold Sample mentioned that we were going to go forward with negotiating contract terms with Sherry Beckert. I was hoping to have a contract signed as of yesterday, but we're still fine-tuning the language in the contract. I should have that this week, and once it is signed, I will email it to you. I will also file it at the next Board of County Commission meeting and also email it to the sheriff. The estimate for the hours to be worked is 250, around under $42,000, which is well under the ask originally from this board. We do expect that, it might expand out beyond that, the estimated hours. They will begin work immediately once the contract is signed, and they will complete the report by December of this year. And they're going to be providing us an accounting of the financials, the assets, and the liabilities transferring from the sheriffs to the county on the jail transition. Any questions?
Staff, do you have any questions for the clerk? No. Okay.
Once the contract is signed, we'll go ahead and schedule a meeting. My IG will schedule a meeting to kick off the accounting. It's hard just not to say audit, the accounting. All right, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to go real fast. I just want to draw staff's attention to the spreading problem of Kogan grass, and I see us mowing it constantly. It's on Starkey Boulevard. It's on 52. I've alerted Secretary Gwen, and I'm going to do it again next week. But when we mow it, we spread it, and it's really hard to get rid of. And I really, really am saying we got to get ahead of it before we look like parts of Hernando, where it's just covered with it, and nothing eats it. It's very hard to kill. So we need to start having a program to take care of it. I got a call from Chris Snow. It was Water Utilities, Inc., and I think that's the name of it. Now they're Sunshine something. They changed their name. It's one of the private utility companies. They have a delivery area in Orangewood, which is Darlington. They found PFAS in those wells, as I've talked to you about, Mike Carbala. He gave me a call. They had to shut down most of the wells. Really, they should have shut down all of them, but then they couldn't give anyone any water. So I offered to them that the county would take over that area and not give contaminated water to the people, but they didn't want that. So he called me to tell me that the feds changed the rules, and it's now 0.0004 parts. It's like quadrillion that you can't have PFAS in, which they don't even know how they test for that yet. But he wanted me to be aware that the rules have changed and it could be an issue over there. Again, I want to talk about Osteen Road because I want this to get done while
Hey,
I'm
Madam Chair?
still alive. Yeah?
Just on that report with the water utility, have you sent a letter to the PSC talking about what's going on there so they can look at, should they be shutting them down or should they be looking at?
Oh, I
looking
don't
into
know the
that?
process. Is that how that works? Is that what we should do?
They look at everything, as far as even if they get a rate case that may be coming up, but they need to be aware of these issues that are out there. So when it comes to ratings, they either get satisfactory, unsatisfactory, poor, that will hurt them, and will not want to deal with that. And DEP might be the other person to reach out to as well.
Let me have a look into that a little bit deeper. You know, we did have some initial conversations with Utilities, Inc. on this particular issue. So yeah, we're not on the same page with them, obviously. But before we engage on the PSC side, I think I'd like to have the team do a little more research and have a few more conversations with Utilities, Inc. just to make sure that everything is aligned.
Okay. So Osteen Road would not be an MPO road. It would be a county project. So I just want to bring that up again, that it's an important road to connect. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 schools that are affected, and people have to drive all the way around. It affects the intersection at 50, at Ridge and Little. Whenever traffic is dispersed through multiple areas, it's always better. So AmSkills has a project with the county, and I'm very pleased that we're back having interns at the Utilities Department. So we have 10 Pasco County students who are affiliated with AmSkills going through somewhat of an apprenticeship program at the Utilities Department. We actually had 14 that wanted to do it, but we couldn't match up the mentors. But we're told next year we're going to work really hard so that all students who want to have a job and get some job training during the summer, we can accommodate them. And I'm going to work on doing the same with Tampa Bay Water if we have that opportunity. I attended an event in Tampa. Norma Henning was the honorary consul general for almost 30 years, 20 years in the Tampa Bay area, and she has moved to Minnesota, so we have a new honorary consul general for Germany, who is an attorney in one of the big firms downtown, and really excited that Pasco County is being singled out as one of the counties that has absolutely the best relationship with them, and I was the only commissioner there, so that was fun. And I think that's it. We have 11:30 time certain, so we'll move on to your presentation.
Madam Chair?
Thank you.
Again, Osteen Road, the citizens in that neighborhood do not want it in that community. There is an elementary and a technical school there. There were no concerns previously when the previous private school was there. So they knew where they were purchasing, and I think we should look at the other concerns, the other consideration. We can open up another road so they have 2 accesses.
I'm
So
sure we
for it
could,
to have
we'll
2
have
access points.
I'm sure there would be a public hearing and all that for it. But I was here when they tried to do that road connection before. And
Yes.
Commissioner Mariano?
Could you bring that map up again? Because I'd like to talk about that too.
Okay, sorry,
There-
one second.
there are options over there.
Bring up that map. There may be another one off of Little Road, which is even better. Then you have even more connections.
I would love the little road. I think the constraint was the wetlands, but I would be in full support of that.
Go ahead, Commissioner
So
Mariano.
I think if they zoom up the screen where it says Ridgewood to the right and then Blueberry Hill Estates, there's that little road, I think it's Hutchinson.
Yeah, right there.
That looks like an easy connection right there. I don't know why that was never done in the first place. The other one that looks over going across east-west is right where it says Pepin Academy is going across. It looks like there's some type of road going across there too. That could be another connection. I think we should look it up, open all 3.
All three.
Support
Open
just
them all
that
up.
second one.
I understand. I think if you open up all 3, it's going to diversify all the travel lanes. And that's what we try to do with traffic. You want it to have many options to go to. They'll pick the best one for them.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that the residents on Orchid Lake would love to not have all the traffic come down their road, so. It's
No,
the
but
residents on the other side that don't want to see any more traffic.
It's
So-
residents on Magnolia and the other
Yeah,
side.
of course.
In
of course.
addition,
Stick it all
right
onto the
there
other
where you have the
people.
horizontal opening, but then if you look down Osteen heading north, onto Autumn, there is another road right down where your mouse, if it goes to the left, nope, up to the right. Right below the school, there's that road right where your cursor is to the left. You can open that and have other access points to the school, although the gates would be locked after school hours.
Well, you can't get to Ridgewood doing that. Okay, we have an 11:30 time certain, so I'm going to call them up. Thank you.
Madam Chair and fellow commissioners, we have here Manny Long, my Director of Finance, and Scott Stitcher with PFM. PFM is our financial advisor. They're here to give us our semi-annual investment update.
Okay, good morning, Chairman Starkey and Commissioners. Mandy Long, Finance Director for the Pasco County Clerk and Controller's Office, 14236 6th Street, Dade City, 33525. And I think I'm going to go to probably slide number 4 when you get a chance here. The last time we were here, we spoke a lot about the interest rates at an all-time low. Well, look what's happened over the last week, right? The Fed actually raised interest rates by 0.75 of a percentage point, 75 basis points, and this was kind of the largest hike we've seen since 1994. We're moving money as securities mature into some of these higher interest rates and shorter term durations. And I'll go, let me do one more page there, and we'll talk a little bit about our portfolio. The total unrestricted portfolio is $1.1 billion. The short-term investments that you can see here are distributed with the Florida Trust day-to-day fund in the amount of $65.5 million, $428.5 million in the SBA Florida Prime, and another $10.6 million in Florida Class. When we look at the unrestricted long-term investments, we have $380 million with PFM and $252 million within the Florida Trust short-term bond fund. And we also have another $10.8 million in CDs that'll be maturing next month. And those were our 1.7% that were getting us our highest yields there for a while, since we were at either zero or no interest for a lot of our investments. And if I can talk about our restricted portfolio, the restricted portfolio is right at $523 million. Again, that directly relates to specific projects. So the bond issuance of the library, fire station, Parks and Rec, detention center, those are the general obligation bonds. Also solid waste, landfill, water sewer, Starkey District Park, and the Sun Lake project. So those are all of our restricted portfolio at $523 million. And if we can go to the next slide, we can take a look at our sector allocation analytics. When you take a look at that bottom one there, the SBA Florida Prime, we had $428 million in there. You can kind of see we were out of compliance for a few days. The maximum we can have in there is 25%. We actually were 12.3% over that, or about $10.6 million over our maximum allocation for this prime account, according to our investment policy. And again, this was timing. We were moving money from SBA in some of our mature securities that had matured. We moved into SBA to set up in Florida Prime some fixed term investments. The first one we moved in was $50 million for a 1 year, 365 days at 2.55%, which relates to $1.2758 million that we'll receive in 1 year. And as I mentioned earlier, we're looking to take advantage of some of these rising interest rates in the short term. And when you look at the U.S. yield curve, when you look at the sweet spot between the 1 year and the 2 year, it kind of dips back down to the 10-year and then creeps back up to the 30-year, back to the 2-year U.S. Treasury yield curve. But again, we've made some other money moves for 90 days. We've got 180 days and another 365 days that we're seeing some higher returns on our money. I know it doesn't really help us a lot this year. Next year, we're going to see some tremendous increase in revenue for interest income coming in. And I'm going to turn it over to Scott Stitcher from PFM to talk a little bit about the economic environment. Thank you, Scott.
morning, Madam Chair, Madam Clerk, and the other county commissioners. Manny, I just wanted to note, too, that it is footnoted on that page, the steps that the clerk's office took to bring that allocation back within the policy guidelines. So I do want to point you to that down below. So again, my name is Scott Stitcher with PFM Asset Management. Our firm has been entrusted to manage investment portfolios for the clerk and the Board of County Commissioners for Pasco County. We do so within the parameters set forth in Florida State Statute 218.415, as well as the investment policy of the board. If I could just provide a brief economic backdrop, expound a little bit upon what Manny shared with you earlier. That way, when we get to performance, it'll make a little more sense on why performance is the way that it is. So the economic backdrop has been persistent high inflation, elevated energy and commodity prices, which you all were speaking to a little bit earlier, the Fed kicking off a shift to tighter monetary policy, rapidly rising interest rates. As a matter of fact, rates continue to rise along the curve that's most applicable to our client base. So it's basically anywhere from 5 years and under. We've seen interest rates rise dramatically. The last time I was here was December 7th. Since that time, the 2-year has risen about 2.4%, 2-year Treasury that is. 5-year Treasury is up over 2%, 2.03% to be exact. Why do I share that? Well, as interest rates rise, bond prices go down, all right? So that's the negative side to fixed income investments in a rising rate environment. The positive side is, again, Manny sort of touched on this, that as you have new money that comes into the portfolio, you have interest received, you have maturities, pay downs, that new money is being put to work in a higher interest rate environment. I'll share some numbers with you on what that really means here in a second. Manny touched on the fact that the Fed raised rates by 75 basis points, the first time they've done so since 1994. We think that you're likely to see another 75 basis point move at the July meeting. And then September, there's no telling, 50, 75 basis points. It really depends on where the inflation numbers stand at that time. Thanks, Manny. So I'm going to take a little deeper dive on the portfolio and the unrestricted assets that we are responsible for. We ended March 31st at $380,867,000. The duration on the portfolio, which serves as a measure of interest rate sensitivity, is 1.74 years. You'll note the benchmark duration directly below that. We are short relative to the benchmark, meaning we're not as willing to take on interest rate risk or interest rate sensitivity in this portfolio at the time. The yield at cost is a good indication of what you are earning on the assets in the portfolio. That stands at 0.76% at the end of March. Fast forward to today, the portfolio is now earning a little over 1%. I think it's 1.08% to be exact. And that drives home the point we're making earlier about new investments, interest received, maturities that are occurring being reinvested at higher yields. You're going to continue to see that yield at cost increase with time. A high credit quality portfolio, AA, and then a fully diversified portfolio with the majority of the assets in Treasury, agency, and supranationals, which are Treasury-like securities, over 50% for the safety and the liquidity that those sectors offer. So let's tear off the Band-Aid here and look at performance for the most recent quarter and the trailing 12 months. I was asking Manny if maybe we could put up the picture of the baby shower again, so these numbers don't look as painful. So again, I mentioned earlier that when interest rates rise, bond prices go down. And you can see that reflected in the performance over the last 3 months and 12 months. I'll point you down to the bottom in that blue, shaded blue section. You see the portfolio down to negative 2.25% for the trailing 3 months versus the benchmark at 2.34%, which, by the way, is the worst performance we've seen in that benchmark since it was tracked back in 1978, just to put things into perspective. For the trailing 12 months, the portfolio was down to negative 2.66%. Versus the benchmark at a negative 2.84%. So I'm happy to say that your portfolio gave up less than the benchmark. And that's important because that's, again, what we're trying to accomplish in down markets, to give up less than the market, trying to protect principal. The other thing I want to note about this performance, we've had a lot of our clients over the past 5, 7, 10 years take a lot of grief for being in high-quality fixed income portfolios when people are seeing the S&P up 20 and 25 and 27%. Today, the S&P is down over 22%. So it's periods like this when you realize the importance of being in a high-quality fixed income portfolio, when it's only giving up about 2%, when the broader equity market is giving up over 20%. So again, that's the reasoning and the thought process behind the safety and then liquidity and then yield in this particular portfolio. I'll end by stating that since inception, the portfolio has returned a little over $14 million in income. I point you there because we're going to see income continue to increase going forward. That income does serve as an insurance policy to price fluctuations in the portfolio. So again, I think there's some near-term pain, but in the long term, you should expect greater income and a little more insurance in movements, given the uncertainty in the direction of interest rates going forward. Let me stop there and see if there are any questions for me or for Manny.
That's an interesting graph there. Okay, this is not my world. I only spend the money. I have a question. Is this growth an unexpected earnings that we weren't counting on? This from
No.
From 0 to 15?
No, the goal is definitely for appreciation in the portfolio, and a lot of that appreciation is driven by income. So it's definitely part of the plan in this portfolio being a longer-term portfolio to see greater return versus some of your shorter duration or overnight type investments. So definitely planned.
Well, you thought that rise was going to go up like that?
Well, that's our goal, is again for the income to, that rise is really represents the income or the total earnings in the portfolio. So that's our goal at the end of the day.
So
I don't think my FRS looks like that. That's all. What?
Madam Chair, say that again. That's showing your total earnings over time. That's not showing, in reality, what you're thinking of. Okay, you mentioned your FRS statement. It's showing, your ups and downs.
The opposite.
Right? No, this is showing total over time.
Total
it's not
earnings
total
since inception.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was getting ready to spend that money.
Yeah. It's not showing how well the quote investment's doing on a monthly, daily basis.
Correct.
Ups and downs. Yeah. Peaks and valleys.
Okay. I thought we had more money to spend.
Can you go back to slide 2? I think it was 2. Actually, it was slide 7 and 8. I know we looked at this last time when Commissioner Moore had brought up a couple concerns on the AAA rates on what we were investing in our portfolio. So I just wanted to see an update on it. Thank you.
Oh, the New Jersey Turnpike is still there.
I just wanted to see.
Sent a
I wanted to
Not
see
much,
the
though.
rate of return.
I did send a letter to the board, I don't know, a month ago or so, in regards to the New Jersey Turnpike. And Scott, you can probably state it better, but they can't invest in vehicles in which they participated in creating. And the turnpikes in Florida, they've created, you can probably say it much better than I can.
Well, historically, what has happened is we had another arm in our business called FAs, or financial advisory, and where they were involved in assisting the underwriting of securities, we couldn't buy those securities. And in Florida, they participated in the assistance of underwriting a large part of those securities. So we were very limited and handcuffed in the Florida names that we could buy. On top of that, you also have to look at the underlying security and the maturity and the credit quality and the relative value that it has within the parameters of your investment policy. So just because it's issued in Florida doesn't mean you can go out and buy it. So some of the names in the Northeast are serial issuers. There's more supply. There's strong credits. We're able to get an allocation, which is another problem, is supply and getting an allocation when these names come to the market. So we've had some success in getting names in the Northeast. Yeah, at the time, last time I was here, I think I provided some information on why we own the New Jersey Turnpike and the fact that they are raising tolls. They are focused on revenues, meeting their expenses, their positive outlook. If you look at the rating agencies that follow them, they do have a positive outlook. So it's, again, a name that we're comfortable in owning. I'll also point out the fact that we only own 0.1% in munis in the whole portfolio, so about $3.9 million of the $380 million portfolio.
And I see it's double A and 2 single A's. I'm more concerned, I wanted to look at the comparisons to the other investments. For example, the California Earthquake Authority, that's not rated. It has 2 non-NRs and an A.
Right, right. So it's not rated by the names that are on that particular report. If you bear with me.
Are there other investments we could make that would be a better investment than California
Well,
Earthquake?
just because it says it's not rated does not mean it's a good investment. It just means that they did not pay to have, you know, S&P or Moody's rate them. They did get Fitch.
A single A.
That's exactly right.
It's still a good investment, but they have Fitch. They applied and paid for them to give them an analysis on their investment portfolio.
So I was just looking at the rate of
And
return.
I'll just also point out that that's not the key driver for why we purchase a name, but it's definitely something we look at. So it's not just because it's single A or it's investment grade, we buy it. But again, it definitely is something we have to look at because it is outlined in the parameters set forth in the policy. So it's definitely something we have to look at. There are many other factors that go into the decision to purchase a name like that.
Madam Chair?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a chart that shows you the investment, the percentage of investment, as well as the rate of return on each individual one?
We do not provide an attribution analysis at that level. I could look in to see if it's something our strategies group could produce, but our reporting package does not have that level of detail today.
I mean, I know it's hard to break down a whole bunch of different ones, but when I'm looking at these municipal ones, I would think you'd know the rate of return, and I don't know why we wouldn't be able to see it clearly and easily.
Yeah, I can request it.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
It's going back to that. I mean, you know, I understand your muni bonds are less than 1% of your total investment. I get that. There was just some concerns, obviously, what we were investing in as a county in the state of Florida, obviously supporting other states and turnpike authorities, and sometimes I'm going to be very careful what I say here. The ways and how some of them possibly do business within the states they're located in, some making the news, e.g. the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. So maybe, you know, taking a look and, you know, since we did bring it up before, we had concerns, so we see no changes here. If it's less than 1%, okay, look at some other muni bonds you might be able to invest in and bring them back to us.
Yep.
So am I hearing you say your preference would be to sell out some of these names then?
And I mean, you know, what other, you know, obviously you're,
Options.
yeah, what are other options, you know, what's the, you know, again, like Commissioner Mariano and Fitzpatrick mentioned a second ago, you know, what's the ROI been over the last, you know, year, 6 months, 3 months? We know those things are changing now. It's going to be totally different, but there were concerns by some of us about some of these investments in other states. I mean, it's great to see with the Florida Board of Admin, but what else is in Florida? What else is available? What's the rate of returns been? Do we able to keep some of these things within the state? Follow me?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And can you go to the second page, next page, please?
What does Georgia have, for example? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of investing in California either.
No, yeah, so,
Or Jersey.
yeah,
Turnpike Authority, which has its own problems.
Madam Chair?
yes.
Just a question as well. And not that I want to invest in some of these because they're really hurting our citizens here, but there's some utility companies, water utility companies around the state that have rates of returns that are really high. They're guaranteed 7, 8, 9%. How come we don't invest in any type of things like that?
I think it gets back to, and I don't know the answer specifically. I'm speculating that their debt is not available for purchase or is not available in the size that we would need to participate in owning. Again, the bond deal needs to be of a size where we could participate in owning, not just on your behalf, but on behalf of our clients where we have a discretionary authority in their portfolio.
Yeah, that's true, because some of those are locked down, you can't get in.
Right.
A question. Can we go into development, like capital funds?
Like private equity?
Yes.
What type stuff? It's
Yes.
not.
Because they use institutional money. Are we considered institutional money?
Definitely a qualified investor, there's no doubt about that. As far as private equity,
You're going to quickly come up against the state statute, though.
I don't know
Thank
anything.
you. That's where I was going, is it might require a tweak to the investment policy, and then you've got to really look hard at, does that meet the safety of principal and the liquidity hurdle? You know, with private equity, you don't just go and sell overnight
No.
to raise those funds.
Long-term.
So you have to keep those sorts of things in mind.
The guardrails that were put in place after 2009 with the state's investments are
I remember that.
are
I
one
was
of the
on
reasons
I was
that
chair
you
of the
have
school
these
board.
guardrails.
During that crazy time, I got the call to save the state's money. And Pasco had to make the call whether we pulled out or stayed in. And I made the call to stay in, save the state.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So board members, I have one more thing I have to bring up. And this is the local support grants. So, let me see. Oh, it's 1 minute till? Okay, sorry.
we
Yeah,
have a closing.
I thought we had more time. Yep, we'll wait, we'll do that after. So Barbara Hinsman, is she down here? Okay. She needs to speak to some of y'all and all of us. I'll have to do it by phone, because I have a lunch meeting. So please meet with Barbara so she can discuss some of the issues.
Do we have a bond closing?
Yes, where is that?
Jeff, too,
'Cause I
right?
gotta do that really fast.
I would think would be in the
In my office?